The clinking of silverware against china plates always sounds louder when nobody's talking. I stabbed at my roasted carrots, watching the orange circles slide across my plate while my mother's voice filled our dining room with her favorite topic, my sister's perfection. I'm Lillian, and this is my 57th dinner of torture this year. Yes, I've been counting. Heidi just received another promotion at the bank, Mom announced, beaming at my sister. Senior financial advisor, and she still manages to be such an amazing mother to the twins. Heidi smiled modestly, reaching for her wine glass. It's really not that big of a deal, Mom. Not a big deal? Mom's perfectly manicured hand flew to her chest. Darling, you're proving that women really can have it all, unlike some people who seem content just drifting. The last word was aimed at me like a poisoned dart. I took a long sip of wine, letting the familiar warmth of Cabernet wash away the urge to scream. Speaking of careers, Mom continued, her voice dripping with the false concern, have you found anything permanent yet, Lillian? That little freelance thing you're doing? It can't be sustainable long term. Dad cleared his throat. Emily, please. I'm just concerned, Mom cut him off. 30 is not young anymore. No career, no husband, not even a serious boyfriend. What will people think? My phone buzzed in my lap. A message from Natasha. Did she start yet? Bet she's on husband hunt topic by now. I smiled despite myself. Natasha knew the script too well. I saw that smile, Mom pounced. Are you finally seeing someone? You know Mrs. Peterson's son is single again. He's a doctor now. No, Mom, just a friend texting. Probably one of those internet friends, she said with a dismissive wave. You spend too much time online, dear. That's why you're still single. Heidi met Casey at church, you know. Casey, my brother-in-law, looked up from his plate with a deer-in-headlights expression. Oh, yeah. Church is good for that. The twins have their school play next week, Heidi jumped in, clearly trying to change the subject. They're both trees in the forest scene. 2 trees. Mom clasped her hands together. How adorable. You must be so proud raising such talented children. When I think about my future grandchildren. She turned her gaze to me, letting the sentence hang. I pushed my chair back. I need to use the bathroom. In the safety of the powder room, I pulled out my phone and called Natasha. Let me guess, she answered. Heidi got another promotion, and your mom's planning your wedding to Dr. Peterson? God, I can't take this anymore, I whispered, gripping the marble countertop. Every single dinner, it's the same thing. Poor, pathetic Lillian. Such a disappointment. Then tell them, Natasha said. Show them the numbers. Watch their jaws drop when they realize you make more in a month than Dr. What's-His-Name makes in a year. I shook my head, though she couldn't see me. Not yet. The investors' meeting next week will go perfectly, she finished. We've got this, Lil. You've built something amazing here. A knock on the door made me jump. Lillian? It was Heidi. Mom's serving dessert. Are you okay? Coming, I called back. To Natasha, I whispered, Gotta go. Call you later. I returned to find Mom serving her signature apple pie. There you are. I was just telling Heidi about that lovely apartment complex near the church. They have some nice one-bedrooms available, much better than that industrial loft you're in. My loft is fine, Mom, but it's in such an urban area, and all those coffee shops and art galleries. It's not very family-friendly. I cut into my pie, watching the perfectly latticed crust break apart, just like my patience. Actually, I heard myself say, I'm hosting the next family dinner. The table went silent. Mom's fork paused halfway to her mouth. At your loft? She asked, as if I'd suggested hosting dinner in a dumpster. Yes, next month. I insist. Heidi looked between us nervously. Dad suddenly became very interested in his pie. Well, Mom said finally, I suppose we could, if you're sure you have enough space and proper dishes. I smiled, feeling a flutter of excitement in my stomach. Trust me, Mom. It'll be a dinner you won't forget. As I drove home that night, my hands steady on the wheel of my carefully nondescript Honda Civic, I thought about the sleek Porsche waiting in my private garage, the international business deals waiting in my inbox, and the look that would appear on my mother's face when she finally saw who her disappointing daughter had become. Next month couldn't come soon enough. And that's another $1 million deal closed. Natasha's voice rang through my loft office as she burst through the door, waving her tablet triumphantly. The Australian market is officially ours. I spun around in my ergonomic chair, grinning. Show me the numbers. She perched on my desk, sliding the tablet over. The figures made me smile even wider. Our digital marketing platform had just secured its biggest international client yet. Remember when we started this in your tiny studio apartment? Natasha asked, stealing a sip of my premium roast coffee. 2 girls with laptops and a dream? And now My phone buzzed. Mom's face appeared on the screen. Speaking of nightmares, Natasha muttered. I took a deep breath and answered. Hi, Mom. Lillian, dear, about this dinner you're planning. I've been thinking, wouldn't it be easier to have it at my house? I could help you organize everything properly. No thanks, Mom. I've got it covered. But, darling, entertaining is such an art. Remember last Christmas when you brought that store-bought pie? Natasha rolled her eyes dramatically, making faces behind my phone. Mom, I need to go. I'm in the middle of something important. More important than family. This is exactly why. Goodbye, Mom. Love you. I hung up and dropped my head onto my desk with a thud. Hey, Natasha nudged me. Speaking of important things, Owen Rogers is flying in next week. I lifted my head. The mysterious international investor? The very same. And rumor has it he's young, single, and incredibly hot. Tash, I'm not looking for... Of course not, she interrupted. But it wouldn't hurt to look professional and gorgeous when we meet him. Maybe wear that Valentino dress you've been hiding. My computer pinged with a new email. Another client wanting to scale up their campaign. I started typing a response, but Natasha snatched my keyboard away. Nope, we're celebrating. Get your coat. 20 minutes later, we were seated at our favorite rooftop bar, the city skyline glittering behind us. To Empire Building, Natasha raised her martini. To hiding in plain sight. I clinked my glass against hers. About that, she set her drink down. Are you sure you want to do this reveal at a family dinner? We could just send your mom the company profile. Let her choke on her morning coffee in private. I shook my head. No, I want to see their faces. Every time Mom compares me to Heidi, every time she suggests another nice boy from church, every time she calls my work that little online thing, I want to watch it all crash down at once. Savage, Natasha grinned. I love it. My phone buzzed again. Heidi this time. Hey, sis, I answered. Everything okay? Mom's freaking out about your dinner plan. Heidi's voice was hushed. She's convinced you'll serve takeout on paper plates. Let her worry. Also, Heidi hesitated. Could we talk soon? Just us? Something in her voice made me pause. Sure. Everything all right? Yeah, just stuff. Never mind. I should go. The twins need help with homework. After hanging up, I found Natasha watching me carefully. What? I asked. You know this might hurt them, right? Especially Heidi. Finding out her struggling little sister has been secretly crushing it this whole time? I stirred my drink. Heidi's perfect life could use a reality check. Speaking of reality checks, Natasha pulled out her tablet again. Owen Rogers sent over the preliminary paperwork. If this deal goes through, we're looking at expanding into Asia by next quarter. My heart raced as I scanned the documents. The numbers were staggering. This could change everything, I whispered. It already has, Natasha said softly. Look around, Lil. You've built something extraordinary. Are you sure you need this revenge dinner to prove your worth? I thought about Mom's constant criticism, the pitying looks, the endless comparisons to Heidi. Yes, I said firmly. I need them to see who I really am. Then let's make it unforgettable. Natasha raised her glass again. To the dinner party of the century. To truth bombs, I agreed. Back at the office, I pulled up the catering menu from the city's most exclusive restaurant. Mom wanted proper entertaining. She'd get a dinner that would make her precious church socials look like kindergarten snack time. My phone pinged with a text from Dad. Your mother's worried about the dinner. Should I be? I smiled and typed back, Trust me, Dad. Everything will be perfect. And it would be. Just not the kind of perfect my mother had in mind. I opened my calendar and circled the date in red. 2 weeks until showtime. 2 weeks until I finally showed my family that their disappointing daughter had built an empire right under their noses. Let them eat cake. On Wedgwood China, of course. I stood on Heidi's perfectly manicured front lawn, wondering if I should turn around and leave, but her text had seemed urgent. Please come over. Need to talk. Before I could decide, the front door flew open and 2 identical tornadoes burst out. Aunt Lily! The twins screamed in unison, crashing into my legs. Hey, monsters! I laughed, hugging them both. How's the tree acting going? I'm a better tree, Tommy declared. No, I am, Sarah countered. Inside, both of you. Heidi appeared at the door. Homework first, tree arguments later. The twins groaned but obeyed, leaving me alone with my sister. Up close, I noticed dark circles under her eyes, partially hidden by expensive concealer. Come in, she said, leading me to her showcase kitchen. Coffee? Sure. I watched her fumble with the fancy espresso machine. 3 attempts later, she gave up and pulled out instant coffee instead. Don't tell Mom, she tried to joke, but her smile was strained. Heidi, what's going on? She stirred her coffee too long, the spoon clinking nervously against the mug. Casey lost his job. What? When? 3 months ago. She wouldn't meet my eyes. The firm downsized. He's been interviewing, but... Does Mom know? Heidi laughed bitterly. God, no. Can you imagine? Her perfect son-in-law, unemployed. From upstairs came the sound of arguing twins and Casey's voice trying to referee. We're burning through our savings, Heidi continued quietly. That promotion I got? It barely covers the twins' private school tuition. Mom's always bragging about it, but we can't afford to pull them out now. It would raise too many questions. I thought about my bank account, about how easily I could help them, but not yet. Not before. A door slammed upstairs, followed by heavy footsteps. Casey appeared in the kitchen, looking tired. Oh, hey, Lillian, he managed to smile. Didn't know you were coming over. Just stopped by to check on my favorite trees, I said. Speaking of the play, Heidi straightened up, her perfect hostess mask sliding back into place. You're coming, right? Mom's already reserved a whole row. Wouldn't miss it. Casey opened the fridge, stared inside, then closed it again. I should go work on some applications. After he left, Heidi's facade cracked slightly. He's trying so hard, but each rejection... I've never seen him like this. Have you looked into other schools for the twins? I asked carefully. Mom would know something was wrong immediately. You know how she is. Everything has to be perfect. Heidi's voice cracked on the last word. Suddenly, I heard raised voices from Casey's home office. No, I understand. Yes, I have extensive experience. I see. Thank you for considering. A pause. No, thank you for your time. The sound of something hitting a wall made us both jump. Casey, Heidi called out, starting toward the office. I'm fine. His voice was tight. Just dropped something. Heidi sank back into her chair, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Sometimes I wonder if this is what I really wanted, or if I just did everything Mom expected of me. Heidi, no, forget I said that. She straightened up again, smoothing her perfectly styled hair. Everything's fine. We'll figure it out. I thought about my upcoming dinner, about my plans for revenge against Mom's constant criticism. But looking at my sister now, I realized she was as trapped by our mother's expectations as I was free from them. Actually, I said slowly, there's something I need to tell you. But before I could continue, the front door opened, and Mom's voice rang out. Hello, anyone home? The change in Heidi was instant. Her spine stiffened, her smile fixed in place, all traces of vulnerability vanishing. In the kitchen, Mom. Mom swept in, carrying shopping bags. I brought the most darling outfits for the twins' play. Oh, Lillian, I didn't expect you here. Just visiting, I said, standing up. Actually, I should go. But you'll join us for dinner? Mom asked. I'm making my famous pot roast. Can't. Work thing. I caught Heidi's eye. Rain check? Outside, I sat in my car, watching through the window as Mom unpacked her bags, probably filling Heidi's house with more perfect things for her perfect daughter's perfect life. My phone buzzed. Natasha. Owen Rogers confirmed for tomorrow's meeting. You ready? I thought about Heidi's tired eyes, Casey's frustration, and the facade they maintained for Mom's benefit. Ready, I texted back, but I think this dinner might need a slight change of plans. Maybe revenge wasn't what my family needed. Maybe what we all needed was freedom from perfection. But first, I had an international investor to impress. No, no, no. Natasha paced my loft, waving her hands. You can't back out now. Do you know how long we've waited for this moment? I adjusted my blazer in the full-length mirror, checking for any imperfections before the meeting with Owen Rogers. I'm not backing out. I'm just reconsidering the approach. Reconsidering? She stopped pacing. Yesterday, you were ready to serve revenge on a silver platter, and now what? You're going soft because Heidi has money problems? It's not just about the money. I turned to face her. You should have seen her, Tosh. She's drowning in Mom's expectations just like I was. Exactly, which is why my phone buzzed. He's here, I said, checking the message from reception. We'll finish this later. The elevator doors opened, and I found myself face to face with Owen Rogers. The rumors hadn't done him justice. Tall, with sharp green eyes and an easy smile, he looked more like a movie star than a venture capitalist. Miss Fletcher? He extended his hand. Owen Rogers, though I suppose we can drop the formalities, given we're the same age. Lillian? I smiled, shaking his hand. And this is Natasha, my partner. Ladies, he grinned, shall we see how we can take over the world together? 3 hours later, my head was spinning with possibilities. Owen's connections in Asia could triple our market reach. The numbers were staggering. One question. Owen leaned back in his chair. Why keep such a successful operation so under the radar? Most CEOs your age would be on magazine covers by now. Natasha shot me a pointed look. It's complicated, I said. Family stuff, Natasha added, earning herself my death glare. Owen's eyebrows rose. Ah, the classic tale. Well, your secret's safe with me. For now. He stood up, gathering his papers. But once this deal goes through, you might want to prepare them. This kind of success has a way of making itself known. After he left, Natasha rounded on me. See? Even hot investor guy thinks you should tell them. I will, I said, walking to my desk. Just not as a weapon anymore. I pulled open my bottom drawer, taking out an old journal. The pages fell open to an entry from 10 years ago. Mom says I'm wasting my time with internet stuff. Says Heidi's internship at the bank is a real job. One day, I'll show them all. Remember this? I handed the journal to Natasha. I was so angry back then, so determined to prove them wrong. And you did! She thrust the journal back at me. You built this amazing company while they treated you like a failure. You deserve your moment of triumph. My phone chimed with a text from Heidi. The twins won't stop practicing their tree poses. Help! I smiled, typing back. Better trees than dragons. Remember my third grade play? Mom still mentions that disaster at Christmas, came the reply. Then, thanks for listening yesterday. I haven't been that honest with anyone in a long time. That's it, I said, looking up at Natasha. Honesty, not revenge. Fine, she threw up her hands, but please tell me you're still doing the dinner. I already ordered that ridiculously expensive wine. The dinner stays, but instead of showing off, maybe it's time for some real conversations. I paused. Will you be there? Are you kidding? I wouldn't miss this for the world. She checked her watch. Speaking of which, we have that call with Tokyo in 20 minutes. As Natasha set up the conference room, I found myself staring at the city skyline from my office window. 10 years ago, I dreamed of this view. Now I had it, along with everything else I'd worked for. My phone buzzed again. Mom, Lillian, dear, about the dinner. I was thinking perhaps we could bring a few family friends. The Petersons would love to see your living situation. I took a deep breath. No, Mom, just family this time. We need to talk. Talk? About what? Is everything all right? Everything's fine. Better than fine, actually. But there's a lot you don't know about me. A pause. Lillian, you're scaring me. Trust me, Mom. For once, just trust me. After hanging up, I walked to the conference room where Natasha was arranging her notes. Ready to conquer Tokyo? She asked. Ready, I nodded. But first, we need to plan a dinner that will change everything. Without the revenge angle, how exactly do you plan to do that? I thought about Heidi's mask of perfection, Mom's rigid expectations, and my own journey from anger to success. By telling the truth, I said, all of it. No more hiding, no more pretending. It's time for the Fletcher women to get real. Now that, Natasha grinned, sounds like an even better show than Revenge. The Tokyo call was waiting, but for the first time in years, I felt truly ready for whatever came next. The twins' school auditorium buzzed with excitement as parents filed in, clutching programs and smartphones. I slipped into our reserved row just as Mom started her third scan of the audience. Cutting it rather close, aren't you? She whispered sharply. Sorry, work ran late. I settled between Dad and Natasha, who'd insisted on coming for moral support. Work, Mom sighed. If you had a proper job with regular hours. Emily? Dad interrupted quietly. The play's about to start. The lights dimmed, and 30 elementary school students shuffled onto the stage in various woodland creature costumes. In the back row, Tommy and Sarah stood perfectly still in their tree outfits, looking more nervous than I'd ever seen them. Look at my angels, Mom whispered. Such natural performers. I caught Heidi's eye across the row. She was gripping Casey's hand so tight her knuckles were white. He stared straight ahead, his jaw clenched, probably thinking about the job rejection I'd overheard. The play was exactly what you'd expect from a bunch of fourth graders. Forgotten lines, missed cues, and one memorable moment when a squirrel crashed into a tree. Tommy, who managed to stay perfectly still even as his cousin Jacob apologized profusely. During intermission, Mom cornered me by the water fountain. About tomorrow's dinner, she started. Everything's arranged, Mom. Yes, but are you sure you don't want me to bring anything? My table settings, perhaps? Or, Mom, I turned to face her. I need you to trust that I can handle this. I just want everything to be perfect, she said, smoothing invisible wrinkles from her designer dress. Like Heidi's dinners. Across the lobby, I spotted Heidi arguing quietly with Casey. We can't keep doing this, he was saying. Not here, Heidi hissed. Mom will hear. They fell silent as Mom approached, plastering on identical smiles. The twins are doing wonderfully, Mom gushed. Though Sarah's tree could be a bit straighter. Heidi, darling, did you remind her about posture? Yes, Mom. Heidi's voice was tight. We practiced for hours. That's my girl, always striving for perfection. Mom beamed. Unlike some people who can barely make it to a school play on time. I felt Natasha tense beside me, ready to defend me, but I touched her arm. Not now. The second act went smoothly until the grand finale, when Sarah suddenly burst into tears mid-scene. Without breaking character, Tommy reached out and held his sister's hand, both of them swaying slightly like trees in the wind. The audience broke into applause. Mom dabbed at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. Such sensitivity. They'd get that from Heidi, of course. After the show, we gathered in the lobby. The twins ran up, still in costume. "Did you see us?" Sarah asked, her earlier tears forgotten. "You were the best trees ever," I said, hugging them both. "Better than real trees," Natasha added, making them giggle. "Who's this?" Mom asked, eyeing Natasha suspiciously. "My friend," I said firmly. "She's coming to dinner tomorrow." "Oh." Mom's disapproval was palpable. "I wasn't aware we were including outside guests." "Natasha's practically family," I said. "She's been there for me through everything." "Everything?" Mom raised an eyebrow. "And what exactly is everything? You never tell us anything about your life." "That's going to change," I promised. "Tomorrow." Casey checked his phone and paled slightly. "We should get the kids home," he said quickly. "Bedtime." "But Daddy," Tommy protested, "you said we could get ice cream if we did good." "Another time, buddy. I can take them for ice cream," I offered, recognizing the look of a man who just received more bad news. "Give you and Heidi a break." "That's not necessary," Mom interjected. "Heidi and Casey have a perfectly good routine." "Actually," Heidi cut in, "that would be great, Lily, thanks." As I led the twins away, I heard Mom say, "Heidi, are you sure? Lillian's not exactly the most responsible—" "Stop it, Mom," Heidi snapped, then immediately lowered her voice. "Just stop." At the ice cream shop, watching the twins debate the merits of sprinkles versus chocolate chips, Natasha nudged me. "You ready for tomorrow?" I thought about Mom's constant criticism, Heidi's cracking facade, and the weight of secrets we'd all been carrying. "No," I admitted, "but it needs to happen." My phone buzzed with a text from Owen. "Asia deal is looking good. Time to step into the spotlight?" "Tomorrow," I typed back. "Everything changes tomorrow." "Aunt Lily," Sarah called. "Can we get both sprinkles and chips?" I smiled, remembering simpler times when that would have been the biggest decision in my life. "Sure," I said. "Sometimes you don't have to choose. Sometimes you can have it all." If only Mom could understand that. The elevator doors opened, and Mom's gasp echoed through my penthouse loft. "This is yours?" She stepped into the open-plan living space, taking in the floor-to-ceiling windows, designer furniture, and city skyline view. "Welcome to my little online thing," I said, watching her face carefully. Dad whistled. "Quite a place you've got here, kiddo." Heidi and Casey arrived next, the twins running ahead to press their faces against the windows. "Look," Tommy pointed. "We can see our school from here." "Is that—" Mom squinted at my dining table. "Wedgwood china." "The same pattern you use," I confirmed. "Please, sit everyone." Natasha emerged from the kitchen, carrying a tray of appetizers that would have made a Michelin star chef proud. "Dinner will be served in 10 minutes. Mom's eyes darted between the professional place settings, the crystal glasses, and my calm expression. "Lillian, how can you possibly afford all this? That's why I asked you here tonight." I handed everyone a glass of champagne, except the twins, who got sparkling cider. "I have something to tell you." "Oh, God." Mom clutched her chest. "You're not in some kind of trouble, are you? Criminal trouble?" "Mom," Heidi protested. "Actually," I pulled out my laptop. "I'd like to show you something." I connected it to the large wall-mounted screen and pulled up our company website. Our logo filled the screen, followed by impressive statistics and client testimonials. "This is my company," I said simply. "I founded it with Natasha 6 years ago. We're now one of the leading digital marketing platforms globally, with offices in 4 countries." Silence fell over the room. Even the twins stopped fidgeting. Last year's revenue was just over 30 million, I continued. This year, we're projecting to double that. Mom's champagne glass slipped from her fingers. Dad caught it just in time. That's impossible, she whispered. Those numbers, Casey leaned forward, his financial background kicking in. They're real? Very. I clicked through to our client list. We handle digital strategies for some of the biggest brands in the world. But, Mom's voice shook, all this time, when I thought you were struggling. I wasn't struggling, Mom. I was building an empire. Heidi stood up suddenly. Excuse me, she mumbled, hurrying toward the bathroom. I'll check on her, Casey said, but I stopped him. Let me. I found Heidi sitting on the edge of my bathtub, crying silently. Hey? I'm so stupid, she wiped her eyes. Here I've been, feeling sorry for you all these years, while you were… God, Lily, you're a millionaire? That's not why I… No, let me finish. She looked up at me. You did it your way. You didn't follow Mom's perfect plan. And look what you achieved. While I did everything right, everything she wanted, and now we're barely keeping our heads above water. From the dining room, we heard Mom's voice rising. But why didn't she tell us? What else is she hiding? Maybe, I sat beside Heidi. We've all been hiding things. She nodded slowly. Casey has another rejection letter. The twins' school is raising tuition. Mom keeps pushing us to join the country club, and I don't know how to tell her we can't afford groceries some weeks, let alone membership fees. Let's tell her. Tonight. All of it. She'll be devastated. She's already devastated, I pointed out, but maybe that's not a bad thing. We returned to find Mom grilling Natasha about the business, while Dad examined the website with genuine interest. These marketing strategies, he mused, they're quite brilliant. That's your daughter's work, Natasha said proudly. She's the visionary. Dinner's ready, announced the private chef, wheeling out the first course. You hired a chef? Mom's voice was faint. Actually, I took my seat. He's on retainer. Like my driver, my housekeeper, and my personal assistant. The Porsche in the garage, Dad said suddenly. That's yours too, isn't it? I nodded. A Porsche? Mom swayed slightly. But you drive that little Honda. Because I didn't want you to know, I said gently. But I'm done hiding. And, I looked at Heidi, I think we all need to stop pretending. Heidi squeezed Casey's hand. Mom, Dad, we need to tell you something too. The twins, sensing the tension, stopped playing with their food. Is it about Daddy's job? Sarah asked innocently. Mom's head snapped up. What about Casey's job? Heidi took a deep breath. Everything's not as perfect as you think, Mom. It hasn't been for a while. As Heidi began to speak, I watched the carefully constructed illusions of our family start to crumble. But beneath the falling facade, I saw something else emerging, truth. And maybe, just maybe, that was better than perfection. Mom sat frozen as Heidi's words tumbled out. The job loss, the mounting bills, the strain of maintaining appearances. The twins had fallen asleep on my designer couch, oblivious to the family earthquake happening at the dinner table. But, Mom's voice quavered, at church, you always say everything's wonderful. Because that's what you wanted to hear, Heidi said quietly. What you expected. I never. Mom looked around the table wildly. I only wanted the best for you girls. The best according to whom? I asked, pouring more wine. Your definition of success isn't the only one, Mom. Don't you dare lecture me. Mom slammed her hand on the table, making the Wedgwood china rattle. All these years letting me worry about you, letting me think you were failing. Emily! Dad's stern voice cut through her tirade. Stop. Stop? Our daughters have been lying to us, Richard. Heidi's practically bankrupt, and Lillian's been hiding some sort of internet fortune. Maybe. Dad set down his fork deliberately. We should ask ourselves why they felt they had to lie. Silence fell over the table. Even Natasha, who'd been quietly documenting everything with subtle glances, looked surprised at Dad's intervention. "I have a proposition," I said, pulling out a folder. "Casey, you managed investment portfolios at your old firm, right?" He nodded warily. "We're expanding our financial division. We need someone who understands both traditional and digital markets. Someone trustworthy." I slid the folder across the table. The position comes with full benefits and stock options. Casey opened the folder. His eyes widened at the salary figure. "Lily," Heidi whispered, "you don't have to—" "It's not charity," I cut in. "It's business. We need him. The Asia deal alone will require significant financial oversight." "Asia deal?" Mom's head snapped up. "What Asia deal?" "The one I'm negotiating with Owen Rogers. He's one of the biggest tech investors in the Pacific market." "Owen Rogers?" Casey looked up from the folder. "The Owen Rogers? He's been in every financial publication this year." "He's also coming to dinner next week," Natasha added with a smirk. "Single, by the way." "Not now, Tash," I warned. Mom stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the hardwood floor. "I need some air." She walked to the balcony, her shoulders shaking slightly. After a moment, Dad followed her. Through the glass doors, I could see them talking. Mom gesturing frantically, Dad placing steady hands on her shoulders. "I'll take the job," Casey said suddenly, "if the offer's real." "It is." I pulled out another folder. "And Heidi, we need a PR director who understands both traditional and social media markets. Someone who can bridge generations." "Me?" Heidi laughed incredulously. "I post cat videos on Facebook." "You also managed to keep up appearances so well that none of us knew anything was wrong," Natasha pointed out. "That's exactly the kind of image management we need." The balcony door opened, and Mom walked back in, Dad's hand on her back. "I thought I was protecting you," she said softly, "pushing you toward safe choices, secure futures. I never imagined—" She gestured around my luxury apartment. "This." "Maybe," Dad suggested. "It's time to imagine new possibilities." Mom looked at the sleeping twins. "The private school is covered," I said. "Consider it Aunt Lily's contribution to their education." "No." Heidi straightened up. "We'll pay for it ourselves, once we're both working for your company." She smiled at Casey, who nodded. "Your company," Mom repeated, testing the words. "My daughter has a company." She let out a shaky laugh. "What will I tell the church ladies now?" "Tell them your daughters are successful," Dad said firmly, "each in their own way." Speaking of success, Natasha checked her phone. "Owen just confirmed for next week's dinner. He's bringing the final contracts." Mom's eyes narrowed. "This Owen person, is he suitable?" "Mom!" Heidi and I groaned simultaneously. "What? If he's investing in my daughter's company? I should know these things." "There's the mom we know and love," Dad chuckled. As if on cue, Tommy stirred on the couch. "Is there dessert?" "Actually," I nodded to Natasha, who disappeared into the kitchen. "I had the chef recreate Mom's apple pie recipe." "But that's a family secret," Mom protested. "Google exists, Mom," I laughed. "Welcome to my world." Natasha returned with the pie, and as the familiar cinnamon scent filled the air, I watched my family, really watched them. Mom, still processing, but trying to adapt. Dad, proud and relieved. Heidi and Casey, holding hands with new hope in their eyes. The twins, sleepily demanding pie. "To new beginnings," I raised my glass. "To truth," Heidi added. "To family," Mom said quietly. "However imperfect we may be." The night wasn't ending how I'd planned. There was no revenge, no triumph, no satisfaction in watching my family crumble. Instead, we were rebuilding, stronger than before. "Stop fidgeting with your tie," I told Owen as we rode the elevator to my parents' house. "Mom's going to love you." "Your mom called my office 3 times this week to verify my credentials," he grinned. "I think she already loves me." The doors opened to Mom's immaculate foyer, now decorated with framed magazine covers featuring our company. She'd insisted on displaying them right next to Heidi's wedding photos. "There's my CEO daughter." Mom rushed forward to hug me. "And Mr. Rogers, welcome to our home." "Please, it's Owen," he said, presenting her with an expensive bottle of wine. "I've heard so much about your famous dinner parties." "Oh, he's good," Natasha whispered behind me. The house buzzed with familiar chaos. The twins chased each other through the living room, wearing their new company t-shirts. Casey sat with Dad, animatedly discussing the Asian market expansion. Heidi directed caterers with the same efficiency she now brought to our PR department. "Lily," the twins spotted me, "show Owen our presentation." "Presentation?" Owen raised an eyebrow. They dragged him to the dining room table where they'd set up their laptops, a gift from Aunt Natasha. "We made our own website," Sarah announced proudly, "for our tree planting project." "Very professional," Owen nodded seriously, examining their colorful homepage. "Have you considered adding a donation feature?" "Already did," Tommy beamed. "We raised $300 at school." "That's my future tech entrepreneurs," Mom said proudly, then caught herself. "Of course, whatever career they choose will be fine." "Mom," Heidi called from the kitchen, "the caterers need your input on the appetizer arrangement." "Excuse me," Mom hurried off. "Perfection is in the details." "Some things never change," I laughed. "But some things do," Owen said softly, taking my hand. The dinner was everything Mom's parties usually were. Elegant, meticulously planned, and full of lively conversation. But now, the conversation flowed freely between business strategies and family stories, tech innovations, and childhood memories. "Remember when Lily tried to sell Dad's old ties on eBay?" Heidi giggled. "My first business venture," I admitted. "Made $20. "Should have kept them," Casey joked. "Vintage ties are trending on social media." "Speaking of trends," Owen set down his fork, "I have news. The Asia deal caught some attention. Fortune magazine wants to do a cover story on both of you." He looked between Heidi and me. "Both of us?" Heidi blinked. "Sisters revolutionizing digital marketing? It's a perfect angle." Owen squeezed my hand under the table. "Of course. It's your choice." "No more hiding," I said, looking at Heidi. She nodded. "No more hiding. My girls," Mom dabbed at her eyes with a napkin, "on Fortune magazine." "Mom, you're smudging your mascara," Heidi said automatically. "Oh, let it smudge." Mom waved her hand. "Some things are more important than perfect makeup." Dad nearly choked on his wine. "What?" Mom demanded. "I can change too, you know." "Speaking of change," Natasha stood up, tapping her glass. "I have an announcement. I'm starting my own division within the company. Social impact investment, focusing on women entrepreneurs." "With my full support," I added quickly, seeing Mom's concerned look. "She's ready." "Of course she is," Mom surprised us all by saying. "Natasha's practically family now." "Does this mean we can call her Aunt Natasha officially?" Tommy asked. "Only if I get extra dessert privileges," Natasha winked. As laughter filled the room, I watched my family. Really watched them. Mom, still perfectly coiffed but softer somehow. Dad, more vocal and engaged. Heidi and Casey, successful on their own terms. The twins, growing up in a world where they could be trees or tech entrepreneurs or anything in between. "Penny for your thoughts," Owen murmured. "Just thinking about revenge," I said quietly. "Still harboring those feelings?" "No," I smiled. "Thinking how glad I am I didn't go through with it." "This is better." "Much better," he agreed, then raised his voice. "Mrs. Fletcher, would you mind if I borrowed your daughter this weekend? There's a tech conference in Paris." "Paris?" Mom's eyes lit up. "Lily, dear, do you need help packing? I know all the best restaurants there and—" "Mom," Heidi interrupted gently. "Let her handle it." Right. Mom sat back. "My independent daughters. But you'll send pictures?" "Every day," I promised. Group chat, the twins shouted. Speaking of pictures, Natasha pulled out her phone. Family photo? We gathered together, no perfect poses or forced smiles. Just us, in all our messy, successful, imperfect glory. To the Fletcher women, Dad raised his glass, who proved that success comes in many forms. To family, Mom added, who love each other exactly as they are. To truth, Heidi said. To the future, I finished, looking around at my real legacy, not the company I'd built, but the family we'd rebuilt, stronger than ever. Some things were worth more than revenge. Some things were worth more than perfection. Some things were just worth more.